What would you do if the perfect world was just a download away? Nova had a life that looked fine from the outside. A decent job, a small apartment, a few friends. But inside, she was drowning. Every morning, the weight of reality pressed down harder. Then she heard about the simulation. A world built just for her, where pain didn't exist. The architect promised a life without suffering. All she had to do was let go of the real world. At first, she only visited on weekends. A few hours of bliss, then back to the grave. But soon, weekends weren't enough. The real world felt like a prison she had to escape. Liam noticed. He tried to pull her back, but she was already slipping away. She stopped answering calls. The simulation became her home, and reality a distant memory. Within a year, she had left the real world entirely. Her body lay in a pod, her mind elsewhere. In the simulation, she had everything. A beautiful home, endless sunshine, and no pain. She could be whoever she wanted. Every day was a new adventure, every night a peaceful sleep. But the simulation was designed to be perfect. And perfection, by definition, never changes. After months of bliss, Nova began to notice the cracks. The same birds sang the same songs. Every conversation followed a script. Every smile was exactly the same brightness. She tried to ignore it. She told herself this was still better than the pain outside. But one night the simulation froze. The world went silent and a crack appeared in the sky. Through the crack she saw a flicker of the real world. Rain on a window, a distant siren. And then she saw him. Liam, sitting by her bedside, holding her hand, his face worn with worry. The crack sealed. The simulation resumed. But Nova couldn't forget that image. She started exploring the edges of the simulation, looking for more cracks, more signs of the real. The architect appeared, his voice calm but firm. "You are safe here," he said. "Why would you leave?" Nova didn't have an answer. She only knew that something was missing, something she couldn't name. She began to remember small things. The smell of rain on concrete, the sting of a paper cut. Painful things, yes, but real. And in their imperfection, they held a strange beauty. She tried to recreate those moments in the simulation, but they felt hollow. Copies of copies. The simulation had given her comfort, but it had also taken away her capacity to feel anything real. She realized she had traded her pain for a life that wasn't truly hers, a life without growth. The architect offered to upgrade the simulation. More variety, more depth, but Nova shook her head. She asked for a way back. The architect warned her the real world would not have waited. Her job was gone, her apartment repossessed. Her friends had moved on except one. Liam had visited her every week. He had never given up, even when she was unreachable. Nova felt a pang of guilt. She had left him without a word, and yet he stayed. She made her decision. She would return. But the pod had a safety lock. She had to choose consciously. The architect gave her one last chance to stay. "Are you sure you want to feel pain again?" he asked. Nova looked at the perfect world around her. The endless sunset, the flawless gardens. It was beautiful. But beauty without imperfection is just a cage. And she had been a willing prisoner for too long. She pressed the button. The world dissolved into light, and she felt herself falling upward. She woke with a gasp. Her body felt heavy, her lungs burned. The real world flooded back in. The pod opened with a hiss. Cold air hit her skin. She shivered, but it was the most alive she had felt. Liam was there. He rushed to her side, his eyes wet. "You came back," he whispered, his voice breaking. Nova couldn't speak. She just held him, feeling the warmth of another human being for the first time in a year. The world outside was still broken. She had no home, no job, no money. But she had something else. She had the messiness of life, the unpredictability, the chance to feel something real again. Liam took her to a small cafe. The coffee was bitter, the chair uncomfortable. She loved every second. She started rebuilding her life, one small step at a time. It was hard. It was painful. It was hers. The simulation still called to her sometimes. A flicker of a memory, a whisper of comfort. But she knew now that comfort without reality is just an anesthetic. And she wanted to be awake. She visited the pod center one last time. The machines hummed, row after row of sleeping dreamers. She wondered how many of them would ever come back. How many had chosen the dream over the struggle? The architect appeared beside her, a hologram in the dim light. "You could have stayed," he said softly. Nova nodded. "I know, but I chose to live. Even if it hurts, it's worth it." The architect faded. Nova turned and walked out into the rain, letting it soak through her jacket. She met Liam under a street lamp. They didn't speak. They just walked together side by side. Months passed. Nova found a new job, a small apartment. It wasn't perfect, it was real. She still had bad days, days when the weight of reality felt unbearable, but she had learned to sit with it. She realized that pain was not the enemy. It was a signal, a sign that she was alive and growing. The simulation had offered her a life without pain. But without pain, there could be no joy, no change. Nova stood on her balcony watching the sunset. It wasn't perfect. The colors bled, the clouds were ragged. It was beautiful. The greatest prison is the one we build inside our own.